everyone and welcome back to my channel. So my name's Katie and today we're going to be talking about some books to read if you enjoyed Our Flag Means Death. So like everyone else on the internet recently, I'm very obsessed with Our Flag Means Death, which is a new TV show, which if you haven't watched it, definitely watch it. It's so good. It's basically just, I don't know, it's so much fun and like you have a massive grin on your face the whole time while watching. And it's basically just queer pirates like living their best lives. Yeah, it's very entertaining and very good. So I wanted to recommend some books today. Basically they're all just books about queer pirates. That's my criteria for this list. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. And I've been wanting to make a video about my favourite book pirates for ages, so I feel like it was finally time. And for more clickbaity views, I thought I would compare it to Our Flag Means Death. So yeah. But before we start on the books, so two TV shows that I'd recommend if you enjoyed Our Flag Means Death. So Black Sails, obviously the original like queer pirate show, which is so good. It's definitely a lot darker than Our Flag Means Death, but it's really good. Oh yeah, it's so underrated and so good. So yeah. And also this is it's not pirates and it's not that queer, but Gallant, and I can't explain it, but all I can say is the vibes are the same. So Gallant's like this kind of fantasy show. It's kind of a bit musical as well, and there's a lot of like fourth wall breaking and it's very funny. But yeah, I would just recommend it just because, I don't know, the vibes and stuff. So yeah, anyway, I'm just trying to push my agenda for certain TV shows. But anyway, so let's get into the books. First book or series that I would recommend, so this is a fantasy, I would say it's more heavy on the fantasy than some of the other books on this list, and that is the Bone Ships. Yeah, I feel like the first book's just called The Bone Ships, and then the second book's called The Call of the Bone Ships, and the third book called The Bone Ships Wake by R.J. Baker. So this is a great series. It's very sort of kind of stylistic and you get so like immersed in the atmosphere of these like ships and things. And we're following this character called Joron, who is he's kind of captain of this ship, which they're not quite pirates, but they're essentially pirates. And he's quite depressed at the start of the series, and his kind of ship is like going to ruin, and he's a bit of a mess, to be honest. And then this other character called Lucky Meese comes along, and she like whips the crew into shape, and then they're going off on their pirating adventures. So that's kind of what is going on. At the same time, there's these creatures who are, I can't remember what they're called, Kishans maybe, but they're like sea dragons basically, who are sort of a bit of a legend, but there's maybe rumours that they're like rising again. And so the Joron and Lucky Meese and their whole crew like go off to try and investigate what's going on. And they stumble across like conspiracies and like magic and stuff. And there's also in the series these great characters called the Gulaim, who are like these human bird creatures, and they're so cute. And they're really great characters. So yeah, the series is really good. It's very sort of high stakes. Like some of the things that happen is like, and like the endings are always like so like action packed and like boom boom boom. And yeah, there's a lot of, I feel like there's books that you have to kind of get like into them because the writing's kind of unique, and there's a lot of sort of shippy words, I don't know, and like their own sort of not made up like words in like a fantasy sense, but like made up almost like slangy words, so you sort of get into it. But yeah, I would definitely really recommend that series. Okay, and then the next book is, I haven't actually finished reading it, but I started it, so that's what counts. And that is The Abyss Surrounds Us, which is a sapphic book, and it is essentially this character, it's sci-fi, like futuristic, but it's not set in space, they're still like sea pirates, but it's like set in the future, and basically the like world, it's kind of almost a bit dystopian-y, like the world has been kind of flooded and like everything's like split up into this new like system, and the main character, she is from this like Republic of California or something, and she is like, her life, her parents and stuff, they like train these things called reckoner pups into like adult reckoners, and they're like these kind of sea creatures. I don't really know how to describe that. There was like a turtley elephant thing. So they're these like sea creatures that like protect ships from pirates. So she's been like training up her reckoner for her life, and then she goes off on her first mission with her like reckoner, but her reckoner's like weirdly a bit mysteriously ill, so they're not quite all there, and then they get attacked by pirates, and the main character, she basically gets captured by the pirates, and then she now is on the crew, and she has to try and work out how she's going to survive. And also the pirate crew reveal they have a reckoner pup of their own, so she's been given this like pill to kill herself basically if she gets captured, so she won't reveal any of the like family secrets. But when she sees this reckoner pup, she has to stay alive and try and save this reckoner and work out like how the pirates have gotten hold of the reckoner. But also the like pirate queen is an absolute MILF, so would recommend for that. But also the like she gets teamed up with this like other girl on the ship who has to try and like basically make sure she's not getting up to mischief, but then they grow closer, so yeah. So yeah, it's good fun so far. I haven't actually finished it yet, but would definitely recommend. And I think this is a duology. And then the next book we have is In Deeper Waters by F.T. Lukens. So this is a really kind of sweet, almost fairy tale-y book, but there is definitely pirates, but I would say it's almost a bit more like Little Mermaid-y in a way. I don't know. So the main character, he is like the youngest prince in this kingdom, and he is like, so he's like, there's lots of princes above him basically, so he's like not important in the sense that he needs to be an heir or anything. So he's gone off on this like little tour for his like coming of age or whatever, like a sea voyage, and there they stumble across this ship where there's this character who's been like captured, and he like rescues this character, and then they get back to the city, and then he finds this character again, and then they like go closer, but this character turns out to be a merman. So yeah, and then there's various magical adventures, and it feels kind of very like fairy tale-y and very like bedtime story classic type thing. I think it's YA rather than middle grade, but it feels very sort of universal in the way that middle grade sometimes does, which I really enjoyed about it. And yeah, there's lots of sort of magical like sea shenanigans, and it's just very sweet and wholesome as well. So yeah, I enjoyed that one. Okay, so this next series is a slight stretch, but it's not too much of a stretch. So there's the Lives of Lotclemora by Scott Lynch. So I feel like I haven't talked about this series in forever, but it was one of the first adult fantasy series I read, and I actually really enjoyed it. And the second book especially, Red Seas Under Red Skies, is basically all pirates. So, but also I feel like it fits the vibe of Our Flag Means Death, even in the books that aren't like piratey, because it's like this crew of miscreants and like that kind of found family like criminal gang thing. I don't know, I just really like it. And so we're following these main two characters, Locke and Jean, and they are yeah, in the first book they're in this like, it's like a Venetian type city, and they are trying to pull off these various cons on the nobles, and they have their little crew of like criminals, and then in the second book Locke and John end up going on a pirate ship basically, and that's part of the most of the story. There's obviously a lot of like fantasy and things that go wrong and everything, but yeah, there's some great pirates. The like main like captain of the ship, she's a woman, and the like other pirate character, Esri, I think she's called, they're both women, which I really loved. They're great. Like, I can't remember the main woman's name, but a total MILF. And yeah, so there's just it's been so long since I read this series. It's honestly eluding me of what happened or anything, but it's a really great series. It's very well written, and if you like high fantasy, you'll definitely enjoy it. And there's lots of like mischief, and I don't know, I feel like it just fits the vibe of Our Flag Means Death. And yeah, Esri is one of my favourite like book pirates ever. She's so good, so I would definitely recommend that series. And then also, so this one is also a stretch, but we have kind of space pirates, kind of, and that is The Collapsing Empire by John Scalzi. So I feel like this is another sort of vibey one, and this one is actually space pirates rather than like sea pirates, and then not exactly pirates, more like smugglers and like cons running in the empire, but it's still really good, and I would just very much recommend it. And there's quite a lot going on in the series, but they're really kind of short and fun, which I feel like the episodes of Our Flag Means Death, they're like only half an hour episodes, so they're like short and fun. This one's a stretch, okay, but so yeah, so the first book we're following a few different characters. So the main character, she is like, her father was the emperor and he's just died, so now she's been thrust into the reins of power, and she's trying to control this empire. But the empire is collapsing, so because it's in space, they have, the system is like held together by these tunnels between different like solar systems, and these tunnels are collapsing, so everything's going to be separated. And then there's also, so she's the main, well, there's various main characters. Also following Kiva, who is like this kind of smuggler, and she's also investigating smugglers, so she's like running around cons while trying to investigate others. And yeah, she gets involved in events. And then there's this other character who, his father like predicted that these tunnels were going to collapse, but no one listened to him, so now his father's now too like ill to travel to the capital to speak up for himself, so he's going to travel in his place. And then there's also this sort of powerful, slightly evil family who are the best, honestly, evil family in fiction. And they are taking advantage of events to their, yeah, to fuel their own rise to power, basically. But it's so good, they're so entertaining. And yeah, like the opening scene is this like mutiny, and it's just great. So, which actually, Our Flag Means Death, they're gonna cause a mutiny in like the first episode, so it's perfect. My brain is a genius. So yeah, so that's that one. Would definitely recommend. Okay, then this next one is not really fantasy, it's romance, and it's probably what I would consider to be trashy romance. And it's not a book I would typically read, but I saw it on Scribd, and I just finished watching Our Flag Means Death, and I was like, it's pirates, it's queer, I'm gonna read it. And that is Kidnapped by the Pirate by Kira Andrews. So this is a romance book, basically. It's fairly smutty. And it is this character called Nathaniel, who is like going on a voyage, I think from England to like the Americas, to like live in this new place his father's like bought or something. And along the way on the voyage, he gets kidnapped by this pirate, and the pirate like captain is very like handsome and whatever. And then yeah, so Nathaniel is like taken as hostage, and then he's on the ship, and then he like grows closer to the pirate captain, and that's basically the story. But it was very entertaining. And it just fit the like piratey void in my soul. So yeah, is it quality literature? No. Was it a good time? Yes. And also I think another reason that made me want to read it was the audiobooks narrated by Cornell Collins, who I really like. He narrates all KJ Charles's audiobooks. So yeah, that was also what persuaded me into that one. Yeah. So yeah, if you like romance, then you'll probably enjoy it. I like the sort of romance where there's like a sweet innocent one and like a reiki type one, I don't know. So yeah, that's that one. Okay, so that's all the books I'm going to talk about in this video, so I hope you enjoyed and maybe got some recommendations. I know some of these books were a slight stretch maybe, but yeah, I enjoyed coming up with them. Also a couple of book pirates which I really love, which didn't quite make it onto this list because I don't know if I would really count them as like queer, but so Nikolai from the Shadow and Bone series, I absolutely love him. Yeah, one of my favourite book characters easily. So yeah, had to feature him obviously. So yeah, and yeah, if you enjoyed the video, or if you have any more recommendations for books, definitely leave them in the comments, because A, I would like to know, and B, I'm sure everyone else who's watching this video would like to know. Yeah, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and consider subscribing if you haven't already. And yeah, I hope everyone's having a really great day, and I'll see you next time.